Hey guys, it is let's see, we're on day number 32 of 90. And what I want to talk to you about tonight was what are your obstacles to weight loss? My name is Alan Thomas. And for those of you that don't know me, I am the owner and head coach for Transform My Future and Rethink Dieting for Men. Got a little lost in the shuffle there. Sorry about that. But these are live, so figured out. I came indoors tonight and found a roadblock. So wanted to, really a little bit about my story first for those of you that might not have seen me before. In 2017, I hit the scale on March 2nd at 304 pounds. I'm 5'11", and realized that the likelihood of me being alive for 10 years or more was next to zero if I didn't do something about it. I was 55 at the time and knew I was going to be known as my wife's first husband. So I committed publicly to losing what ended up being 129 pounds in 260 days. And now I help men overcome the weight that holds them back from living the future they were destined to live. And tonight I was just, it was on my mind how many men I talked to that struggle with the thought that they just can't lose the weight. And, I don't know if this sounds like you, but I ask a question of a lot of men and I record these. This is, I'm not going to share names, obviously, but, a lot of the answers, what's your biggest obstacle of weight loss? And, I hear it all the time. I've tried every diet program out there and I'm reading, from some of these actually, I work out and eat healthy and I still can't lose weight. I'm my own worst enemy. By the way, me is the number one answer. The person on the other side of that, sitting between the elbows, they consider themselves their own worst enemy. I seem to do good for a month or two and then start gaining. And then the next one says consistency. Even when something isn't working, I still stop and backslide. Laziness, just have to stay dedicated. Someone to motivate me. Emotional eating, working all the time. Health issues, consistency, feel like I can't do it. I'm just reading a few of them, and in just and food is, by the way, one of them, which I thought was kind of one of the more interesting answers. And really the answer in all of these is that, the thought that you can't do it is the challenge, because if people are doing it every day, I've got men that the other day, a couple of the men in my program actually posted, I just happened to see it pop up about, thanking the program that we put together, losing 58 pounds, losing over 80 pounds. And if it were the diet only. Now, is diet important? Heck yeah, it is. This is not some magic pill. I don't have some wand I wave where you can eat anything you want and lose weight. But think about this for a minute. The diet industry is $72 billion in the United States, and there's over 300,000 deaths due to obesity every year. These are CDC numbers. And physicians, over 20% of physicians are obese. So if the knowledge to lose weight was really what the problem was, wouldn't everybody be thin and fit? If that's not the answer, then what is? I think for so many people, the belief that they can get to the scale to come down on a consistent basis. I know that was me. I'd tried so many things and I'd failed so many times. I just really had lost hope. And it felt like getting to a sign like I've got in my virtual background here. I love these virtual backgrounds where road is closed. I couldn't seem to get past that obstacle. And then when I developed a strategy that really helped me overcome the food, overcome the fork, and get into an action mode that really changed everything for me and literally has changed my life. From a physical standpoint, I'm healthier than I was when I was probably 35 years old. From just an emotional standpoint, it feels so good to accomplish it. And when the men that a couple of the men that I work with today were sending me notes that they had reached some milestones, which is incredible. And you reach these 10-pound milestones that emotionally, does a lot for you, but it increases their likelihood that they're successful in other areas. I mean, when you're morbidly obese, like I was, over 300 pounds, and nothing's working. I mean, nothing's working right. You can fight against it. You can do all these things, but if you don't have that going for you, if you don't have that help, that's a huge deal. Health is a huge deal, but it goes so much deeper. I mean, the embarrassment and the agony that we face as morbidly obese men is just incomprehensible to somebody that's never been there. And I tell people all the time, I said, hey, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a physical fitness expert. And some of my coaches say, well, why would you say that? I said, because it's the truth. If they had the answers, you would already be thin. Let's face it. I tell guys all the time, I said, I'm just a guy that's a step ahead of you in the woods, and I know what it's like to be obese, and I know the way through. And so when I talk to men and men apply in my program, I'm not right for everybody. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, there's men that, just would not be a fit. And I don't invite everybody into the program. But when I hear some of the stories and some of the coping mechanisms that we have, it just rings in my ears, because I did the same thing. I would compare myself. We live about a mile from the beach on Amelia Island, Florida, and I would go down to the beach and I would look around when I was brave enough to take my shirt off, I would look around before I took my shirt off to see who was fatter than me on the beach, and I could always find one. But as I got bigger and bigger and bigger, it was difficult to find that one. I became the one that everybody was comparing to. So I didn't go to the beach. I stayed in. I didn't want to be around other people. I was in sales, and, being around people is part of it. I would make jokes about my weight, about my obesity. I'd tell all these different things, and those became the obstacles to me overcoming it too. So, what I would say to you guys that are watching this, if you're struggling to the point, be encouraged. I mean, be encouraged. There is a way out. There is a way out. It's not hopeless. It really isn't. You might think it is, but it's not. And I really get excited when I meet a man that really will take ownership of that and do what's necessary. Is it magical what I do? No. Is it simple? Yeah, it's pretty simple, actually. Is it easy? No, it's not. But is it possible? 100%. I mean, when I see men that have struggled their whole life like I did, and we're able to get that scale to go down, it's like all these other areas of life start to open up. And they start to realize there is hope, and they start to realize that they can do it. And they start to realize that those dreams and hopes and desires that they had inside of them when they were 17 years old or 16 years old or 18 years old, that it's still possible that they might be able to achieve some of those things. And when I see this, hear the story of the spouses that are excited because their husbands taken on this role of stepping into who he was destined to be. I mean, it gives me chills to think about that. I get excited for them because I know that there's so much good that they can do. I mean, if you think of all the capital from a standpoint of knowledge and potential capital, I guess you could call it, and that's just what I'm pulling off the top of my house. All the potential that's out there in the 39% of the men in the United States that are obese. 39% of men in the U.S., adult men, are obese. If you think of all the potential, the capital of that potential, the value of that potential that's being covered up by morbid obesity, oh my God! When we can help one just tap into a little bit of that potential, I mean, it goes so much more beyond the health. I mean, the health is super important. You can't do anything if you're not alive and healthy, of course, but it goes so much more beyond that. And when these men rethink how they've always thought about dieting, and we show them a path that's clear that they can step into, and they start to have success, it is the greatest joy that I have. And so if you're watching this and you can relate to any of this, I mean, if you just think I'm crazy, that's fine. But if you really think that you might be somebody that's felt that way like I did, like when I stood on the scales and realized and I was a goner, then reach out to me. Go to www.transformmyfuture.com/apply, and book a breakthrough session. If you've got obstacles to your weight loss that you don't think you can get over, if you're stuck at a row closed sign like in that picture behind me, then reach out to me. Schedule a free 45-minute session with me, and we can figure out if there's an opportunity to get past those roadblocks and those obstacles. Because, at the end of the day, we get one shot. I have one shot. There's no guarantees in this life, but if we can overcome the fork, if we can overcome the food and get the weight off, and we can, if we can do that, it's so powerful what potential's out there. I believe that potential's in you. I believe everybody's listening to this, there's that potential in. And so reach out to me. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow, July 3rd. And you guys have a great night and keep on keeping on.